just be kind of one subject, really, today, Flo.
One subject. What is it? It's, that
Football.
World Cup game, Brazil and Germany. If you didn't watch the game, I've brought you a little recap, 10-second recap, actually, by the radio station Bayern 3. Let's take a look. So that just about sums up the game there in 10 seconds. Okay, yeah. That video you saw there has gone viral on social media. Germany creamed Brazil. Let's take a look at how the Brazilian press is reacting to this. It's the team's biggest defeat in their 100-year history. Folha de Sao Paulo says this is none less than the biggest humiliation in history ever. It talks about the massacre. O Globo said it was completely surreal. And this is the biggest loss we've ever seen. You can see here the coach, he's talking about the catastrophic result. There were a lot of sad faces at the stadium yesterday. O Globo has pulled together, I guess you could say, a best of those sad faces. Lots of crying and deception, desperation. Now, Lance, the Sports Daily, also talks about this humiliation which completely overshadows the Maracanazo. Now, that was the last humiliation that Brazil suffered. That was when Brazil lost to Uruguay. That was in 1950. It was the first time they were hosting the World Cup, and they lost, and that was what they wanted to forget this time. But Lance says this defeat is just worse, so much worse than that was.
And it's not just the Brazilian papers, is it? I mean, the papers all right around the world kind of agreeing with all
That's
of that.
right. Slate says that the world is speechless. It talks about a nightmare, a slaughter, remorseless Germany tore Brazil apart. You can see here this title. It says, "Bye Bye Brazil. No team has looked this bad in the World Cup since Haiti in 1974. Now, that was the first time Haiti played in the World Cup, and they also had a very horrible defeat. You can see here, Slate, it said what we witnessed yesterday was the spontaneous combustion of Brazil's national soccer team.
I don't know if this goes too far, but lots of papers also focusing on what this means for the future of Brazil. This is talking about a political and social level.
That's right. Well, there was a lot of tension in Brazil ahead of this World Cup. A lot of people were unhappy about just how expensive it was. It was a record $11 billion were put into hosting this World Cup. The Daily Beast has republished an article it published in May, so before the World Cup. You can see the title here. It says that Brazil's World Cup is an expensive, exploitative nightmare. And there's this ominous quote from a Brazilian journalist who says, "I think that the way we play the World Cup will define a lot of things that will happen outside the stadium. If Brazil does well on the field, then perhaps people will be happy and not protest so much. But if Brazil fails, there will be violence." So this is a quote from May. I pulled out one photo on Twitter where you can see some Brazilians actually burning the flag. They were so angry at the team, the result, and the president. Slate has pointed out that the president, Dilma Rousseff, she's getting a lot of criticism for this. She was booed. Insults were thrown around after the game last night. You can see here the title. It says, "No one enjoyed the game less than Dilma Rousseff." Now, historically, World Cup victories in Brazil have coincided with economic success and political success for politicians who are in charge. So this article says, the score will have some impact, it's sure, on the election.
Different story, of course, in the German press.
That's right. As you can imagine, there's celebrating in the German press. But it's not over the top. It's quite tame. Let's look at the Frankfurter Allgemein. It talks about a historic game as well, a surreal score as well, but in a good way. This was a football miracle, and Die Welt, they're already looking ahead to the final, actually, and very confident. They say, whether it's Argentina or Holland, who cares? We're the favorite.
And a very, very record match for one German player in particular, wasn't it?
That's right. That's the German striker, Miroslav Klose. Now, he scored in the 23rd minute, making him the World Cup's all-time lead scorer with 16 goals. And he stole this record from a Brazilian, Ronaldo. So once again, poor Brazil. Now, another star of the game was Thomas Muller. He scored his 10th goal in that game. Now, he's the rising star of German soccer, but a lot of people don't know who he is. This is an article in Rue 89. This is an article that was published before Germany played against France, and they republished it today. Now, they say that this German who's scaring everybody, well, he looks a lot like your next door neighbor, actually. He's not the flashy football star
I live next to an old lady. That doesn't work. Okay. Okay.
looks like her. No, in his club in Munich, he's nicknamed Mr. No Muscle. And this article says that once Maradona, he thought he was the ball boy.
Oh, right.
So
okay.
this guy, he's not the flashy football star we're used
yeah.
to seeing, but Rue 89 says, don't be mistaken. He's a football genius, and he's dangerous.
Flo's been looking through all the papers for you to bring you the latest on that game. Thanks a lot. Coming up for you, we're going to have the latest on the football, plus, of course, the latest from Israel and Gaza. And is it a scandalous imposition of Islamic fundamentalism on Western society, or is it just a natural progression of the law to suit the people that live by it? In today's Focus, we look behind the row in Britain over the Law Society publishing recommendations on how to draw up wills according to Sharia law. That's in Focus in about 15 minutes.
The Observer's Direct.
The gold rush in Guinea-Conakry has turned the Sigiri region into a modern-day El Dorado. Tens of thousands of people are scouring every inch of land in search of the precious metal. Some have struck it rich, but most people still live in extreme poverty. With our observer, Fode Kouyaté, our team set out to investigate a human and ecological disaster in the making.
The Observer's Direct. En France 24 and France24.com.